Hey everyone, Katana here. Welcome back to another video. So today, guys, I'm gonna be talking about best PC parts, like main parts. I'm talking about GPU and CPU combo to go with for each PC build, and then I'll be showing you guys, or for each budget, sorry, and then I'll be showing you guys what I would get as a PC. Like I'm gonna be showing you PC part lists and show you the best PC parts combined possible. So to get every ounce of performance is what I'm saying. Okay, so let's get started with the cheapest one of today. The $300 budget, €300 maybe if you want to call it like that. But the thing about this, there's no GPU. You have to buy an APU. If anything, I'd go with the 220G 220G by AMD. It's an Athlon processor. It's a dual core, so it's not the best, but it's what you can get for this budget. Then you will have to buy pretty cheap everything else as well. I'll show you guys in this PC part list. Okay, guys, so this is the $300 build. We're starting off with the AMD Athlon 3000G processor, 3.5 gigahertz, and it's a dual core. It's an APU. It'll be supplying all the power, all of it. We also have the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo, which is a really decent cooler, and it is the best value cooler actually. Why we're using that? If you want to upgrade your CPU along the way. Now, the B450 motherboard we have here, why I didn't choose the bottom of the barrel is because what if you want to upgrade your CPU later on in the line? B450 can handle Ryzen 5, which is a really good 6-core CPU. And you can also overclock with it. Now, Patriot Patriot Viper Steel 8GB DDR4 3000. Why I didn't choose 2400? Because you need the high-speed memory with AMD's new chips, and with the GPU you'll be running inside this, it needs memory. If you're not gonna have memory with the GPU in this, if you're not gonna have high-speed memory with that, it's not gonna work well, because that's your GPU memory and your system memory. Next, we have the 240GB SSD. This is the best you're gonna get for this budget. That's it. You cannot get a hard drive. Don't try get a hard drive. It's not worth it. Hard drives are not worth it at this price at all. And that is a 100%, by the way. 240GB SSD. That will house all your games and Windows pretty well. One thing, you might want to add a hard drive later on and have like that as a boot drive. Next, we have the case. It is bottom of the barrel, but one thing is it does have an acrylic side panel. I can't talk today, sorry. It does have an acrylic side panel, which is really good. I love any case with an acrylic side panel, and it's pretty easy to work with. Now, we went with Thermaltake for this power supply because they are reliable and they do produce reliable power supplies. Altogether, $299. Remember, prices are subject to change, so $299, 33 cents with a bit left over. Remember, not a dollar over budget. So guys, for the next one, the $600 PC, we have a lot more flexibility, and in fact, we can add a GPU. Now, we're gonna be choosing a really good CPU for this one, a 6-core AMD Ryzen 5, probably paired with something equal from Nvidia or AMD, depending on which one is cheaper. So something that would suit it would be a 1660 Super, or maybe an RX 5600 XT or 5700. 5700 is pretty top actually. I would say 5600 would do fine. So let's go in and check out what I have actually. Okay, so actually, first of all, I have to address this. I'm not actually using the Ryzen 5 2600. I'm just placing it there because they don't have it on PC Part Picker. But on Amazon you can go search up Ryzen 5 1600, and in the reviews it should say, yeah, this is 12 nanometer, and if it is 12 nanometer, then that is the 1600 AF, which is essentially a 2600 but far cheaper. It is $85, saving us $45 in the process. So we're going to be taking away $45 from the budget of this build. So with that out of the way, Ryzen 5 1600 AF 6-core 12-thread processor built on the 12 nanometer Ryzen process. Sorry about that. A few Discord messages, you know what I'm saying. So the B450 Aorus Micro ATX A4 motherboard. Now this one is slightly higher quality than the other one, but not too much. See, you will be able to fit a Ryzen 7 2nd gen, 3rd gen, but no overclocking, strictly no overclocking on the Ryzen 7, because the VRMs will overheat. And we also went for G.Skill Ripjaw 5 16GB 3600 as well. 3600, why I picked that? Because Ryzen loves high speed memory. It absolutely adores it. It eats it up. That will give you the best gaming performance you can. Now 120GB SSD. With that, I do also have another storage solution, but 120GB is just for a boot drive. 2TB Seagate Barracuda compute hard drive. Yes, this one is really decent. Seagate Barracudas are well, they have a good reputation, you can say, and they're pretty well priced. Now the GPU for this one is the 1650 Super. With this, it is essentially a 1660 with less VRAM. It can play any game once the VRAM buffer doesn't go over. It can play any game, not any game, like not AAA titles, but it can play any game 60 FPS, ultra settings, 1080p. Now with the case, we kind of cheaped out again, but it is still a decent case. Read the reviews, guys. It is actually a decent case to work with. I also went for the EVGA 500 watt 80 plus certified ATX power supply. You heard there, folks, by EVGA, one of the best power supply manufacturers. So that is a good power supply, and it won't explode, so that's a good thing. It's always a good thing. A 500 watts should be enough, maybe even to upgrade to a 1660, maybe an RTX 2060 along the way, no problem actually. Now with that, mine is $45 from the budget, and we are actually under budget, so that's pretty good, am I right? Thanks to the Ryzen 5 1600 AF. Now on to the next budget, $1,000. Yes, the big 1,000. Now with that, you want again, some of you guys might get angry at me for this, but we are still keeping the Ryzen 5 1600 AF. The reason being, if we were to get a better processor, we'd also have to sacrifice some of the budget for the graphics card, and the graphics card is essentially what gives you the gaming performance. And if we sacrifice the GPU, then we end up getting less overall FPS if we buy a new CPU. So we're still sticking with the Ryzen 5 1600 AF, and we are also adding an RTX 2060 or 2060 Super. We might also put an equivalent from AMD like the RX 5700 XT for the same price. That gives you actually a bit more performance. So let's go check it out. Okay guys, so again, we are replacing the Ryzen 5 1600 with the 2600, so we're going to take away $45 from the budget again. Now, I have chosen a way different motherboard, way higher spec, and it's still B450, but this thing can handle Ryzen 7 like it's nothing. You can even overclock on your Ryzen 7 3800X if you want to improve it along the way, and you can overclock even more on this B450 for the Ryzen 5. Now, G.Skill Ripjaws 5, it just stays the same, unless if you're going to do video editing or streaming. I do recommend cutting a bit of price off the motherboard and off power supply, and getting 32 gigs if you're going to be doing streaming and video editing, which, yeah, I would like to do. Now, this time we actually have an M.2 SSD, guys. Yes, we do. M.2 SSD, 240 gigs instead of 120 as well, and the same Seagate Barracuda. Now, with the SSD, that will give you really high speed. This is by Western Digital, so they're a really good brand. Trust me, they're worth it. Now, we went for AMD card this time because they fixed most of their driver problems, and now the RX 5700 XT is better than a card that's more expensive than it. The RTX 2060 Super is actually more expensive than the RX 5700 XT, going at an MSRP of 400, but also it doesn't really sell for 400, it sells for like 420 to 460. This thing sells for under 400, and it delivers more power. The RTX 2070 Super is also an option, but that delivers slightly more power for about $500 around there. For the case, we chose the NZXT H510. This is the best case in my opinion. It looks amazing. It has a glass side panel, tempered glass, and it is really good case. If you want to add a liquid cooler, you can also do that. Now, with the Corsair 650 watt gold, 80 plus gold certification, that thing can even take an RTX 2080 Ti and a 9900K, no problem. That is one hell of a power supply. You don't need to upgrade any part of this to be able to have a Ryzen 7 and an RTX 2080 Ti in this system. And altogether, if you take away the $45 from the Ryzen 5 2600, you will be under budget. So this is, or just about under budget. This is, in my opinion, the perfect $1,000 computer. The next budget we have, guys, is $1,500. Now, this is my favorite because we are able to upgrade the CPU quite a bit from the last one. And with that, we also will be upgrading the GPU. Some people will get angry at me for not really upgrading the CPU too much. But I might have changed my mind after going through the PC part list again. So let's go check. Okay, so this is the $1,500 build. So first of all, we're starting with the Ryzen 7 2700X. It is a really good processor, 8 core, 16 threads. Y'all know all about it. Comes with a really good cooler, so we're not gonna add a cooler onto it. Now, same motherboard, you'll in fact even be able to overclock with this motherboard on a Ryzen 7. I know, sounds awesome, right? And it's only $115. Now, same G.Skill Ripjaws 5, 16 gigabytes, but we've changed the SSD. It provides us 6 gigs extra memory for slightly cheaper, I think $3 cheaper, same speed. Same Seagate Barracuda compute, 2 terabyte, 7200 RPM. Decent hard drive. The SSD is pretty surprising, though. It is very decent. Now, the biggest change here, not including the CPU, is the video card. The RTX 2080 Super. This thing is on another level. It's just a step away from RTX 2080 Ti performance, and that's pretty cool. The Aerocool Cyclone case that we've chosen is slightly less expensive than the NZXT equivalent, but it is equal with airflow, and the PSU should be able to handle all that, no problem, actually. So with all that, you'll be able to maybe step into 4K, 1440p, 144 hertz, no problem, for exactly $1,500.92. You're welcome. Next budget on the list, the last budget, the $2,000 budget. Now this will feature one hell of a CPU and GPU combo. We're probably going to keep everything the same. We might add a cooler on because, you know, it's $2,000. Why not add a cooler? But also we might not, for reasons like $2,000 we're gonna get RTX 2080 Ti. That's like the whole budget already, isn't it? Well, we are gonna be going for the cheapest RTX 2080 Ti we can find, and maybe try to do something about it. Am I right? So onto the build. Let's go. Okay, so the $2,000 build, we have the Ryzen 7 2700X, and this one we have our liquid cooler. It might only be a 120mm radiator, but it is so much better than the Wraith cooler that comes equipped, the Wraith RGB. Now this thing, you will be able to overclock properly with it. Maybe not extreme overclocking because, you know, you're stuck with B450, but later on in the line you can upgrade the motherboard to an X570. Now, biggest difference with RAM here is 32 gigs. It's still Riptos 5 because they're the best priced at 3600 speed, but 32 gigs 3600 speed is absolutely perfect. I mean, you can't get better than that, can you? Of course not. It's impossible to get better than that. Now, same storage solutions, SSD and 2TB. Biggest game changer here is the 2080 Ti. This thing will be able to do 4K 144 Hz in some games. It does reach 140. It doesn't fully reach 144 Hz in some games, but that is still amazing. Same case as well, because it does provide really good airflow. In this case, it's way better than I thought it would be. The RTX 2080 Ti though, that is a game changer, by the way. And last of all, power supply is all the same. So we have made major changes to the RAM, the cooling, and the GPU. Altogether for $1,994. Sorry, I forgot to record that part. But yeah, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you now know what budget fits you. Hopefully it's not the 300 budget, because that is, it's not a very good budget, trust me. My favorite budget is probably the 1500, or no, actually no, it's the 1000. The reason being, you get such a good GPU for such a low price. 400, less than 400 for performance, that is, of a nearly $500 graphics card. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.